Good evening, everybody. This is the Collector, and this is the Collector Paint and Chill. So today we're just going to be continuing the commission here. It is a first Crucis Lancers Commission, armor divisions, and we're going to do the red and blue lines. Oh, looks like you did not. It cut out the intro there, so sorry about that. So again, hello everyone. This is the Collector. This is the Collector Paint and Chill stream, where we paint, chill, and listen to some soundtrack music, answer some questions, and give some painting tips. So happy you could be here. For whoever's watching, and yeah, we'll just continue on here. Working on the first Crucis Lancers, a commission for a client, and we already took care of the white lines. We took care of metallics, the OD green, a lot of edge highlight work, and now it's just a matter of doing the red and blue lines. So what we're going to do is I've decided to paint the red lines. We're going to do the red lines on the left of the white line from our left. If the unit is facing the other way, it'd be on the right side. And then the blue line is going to be in the exact opposite spot, so that little gap in between the edge of the tanks, or the hover tanks, and the white line. So now that we have all that set up, and that's going to be the plan going forward here. For my brush, I'm going to be using a script liner Master Touch that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's a synthetic. For paint, I'm going to be using the Army Painter War Paints Pure Red. I'm more so to test it out. I usually use a Pro Acryl or a Vallejo paint, since the opacity of the pigment on those paints are really good over darker colors. But we're going to test out this Army Painter Fanatics one, because I've had some good luck with it with other models. As you can see here, I did a couple layers of the Fanatics Demon Yellow over a black primer on this 3D STL of the Muckraker. And as you can see, there's a little bit of black wash in there, but I mean, it covered really well. It took about 2 or 3 good layers of the Demon Yellow to kind of make it solid. I mean, I also used some of the Too Thin Coats yellow afterwards to darken some of the spots. But yeah, these Fanatics aren't too bad. They do what it says on the tin. So. Alright, shaking this little bottle here, and then we'll get started. Get a little bit of that pure red down there. Tiny drop of distilled water. I don't want to go overboard here. There we go. Get my mixing brush. Don't worry about this one. This is a abused mixing brush I used to clean my airbrush and mix it around. Still useful. Alright. Yeah, we'll get started here. Let's see if I can get a good camera alignment here. And I'm still using the Logi app. So that should give us really good camera focus. See, there we go. Alright. Here we go. Now, I remember I said before that I was going to make really thin red, white, and blue lines, or red and blue lines on the white line. But on second thought there, I thought about how small the lines were going to be if I did that, and they wouldn't pop as much. I feel like the lines being a little bit thicker would draw the eye more and be a little more interesting to look at. So we'll go with that. And then, of course, if it doesn't look good, thank you, motorcycle. If it doesn't look good, we can always go back and go over it with the OD green or the green yellow from Pro Acryl, or we can always cover it up. And that's the good thing about modern day miniature paints, is they are, for the most part, nicely pigmented and good for covering up the paint underneath, even if it's a darker paint. So anything from Pro Acryl or the new formula Army Painter stuff or Tooth and Coats, they'll all do you pretty good. So same thing we did with the white lines. Very careful motions, straight up and down, trying not to shake. A lot of people are scared to do lines, and there's good reason. You don't want to mess up an expensive model that you put a lot of work and time into, but you got to develop those hand-eye skills, and you don't have to practice on the model. You can always take blank or hex bases, or maybe some of those MDF bases that you can get, or even just a piece of printer paper, and just practice your lines until you get comfortable. And once you're comfortable, you can do lines on a model. That's one semi-done. That took a while. Let's see if maybe we can speed this one up. Probably should have put more water in that thing. Just adding a little bit more water into that paint. I need it to flow just a little bit more. That's a little bit better. Man, whatever formula they did on this, it's for these fanatics, it's really good. Way better than the OG Army Painters. Tell you the truth. I still have a nice little box of them. I'll say this for the old Formula Army Painter paints. They're not horrible for doing like really thin blending and fades with a brush because of the less amount of pigment on the medium. You can overlay, blend them, and thinly layer them in a way that lends well to transitions. So from like a black to like a bright blue, and then all the middle tones in between, and then you can mix in other colors and you can do the same thing with other paints. Of course, you can do this with high pigment paints. You can thin them down. I'm not saying that the old Army Painter formula is awesome, but I'll say this: it forced you to have to think about how to paint a little more than you would have had, and you can always learn from even a bad product. There's a lot of people that I know that would say, no, that's just wrong. They suck. People that use them don't know what they're talking about. It's like, yeah, okay. seen people use the old Army Painter formula to do really nice work. So hats off to them who used the old Army Painter paints to great success. Those who still do. There's a bit of a curve on this edge, so I'm trying to be careful not to overshoot the line, but I think that came out okay. After we're done with these, I've got 12 more, so we're just gonna keep on going here. Now we got a nice flow right here with the paint. And let's use the camera losing focus here. Let's see if we can get a better focus now. Come on, camera. There you are. That's what I'm talking about. My big fat hand keeps unfocusing it. Alright, there's 4 of them. Let's put these off to the side, and let's bring 4 more. We'll work our way through this list. Let's see, let's do the Myrmidons. We'll leave the turrets off of these for now. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. And everything I'm doing, you can do as well. Alright, got that guy done. Let's do this other guy. I think I overshot there, but that's okay. You can always go back with some of that white. So the step after this would be doing a matte varnish on everything, even if there still needs to be some corrections on the lines. And the reason is because the matte varnish will protect what we've already done. And you can think of it like saving your progress on a video game. You're saving the progress because even if you mess up on top of the matte varnish, you can always go in with a little more thinner than you would normally be able to get away with without ruining the bottom coat, because the varnish is going to protect that. Of course, you're not going to go crazy, but you can fix errors or paint over errors easier, and it's not really going to make that much of a difference if you do it over the clear varnish or if you do it over the paint, because of course the varnish is clear. So just another good little tip for you. Another trick is if you're painting using different paints. Some people, they use like a lacquer or an enamel varnish over the acrylic, so that if they do mess up and they want to do a correction over the clear coat of the enamel clear coat, and say as they're correcting, say, a line or a detail, and they mess up, they can go in with acrylic thinner and it won't mess up. It won't do anything to the varnish. It won't do anything to the bottom coat, because acrylic thinner shouldn't break down the enamel varnish at all, or the paint beneath it. So again, it's like a way of saving your progress, so you don't have to go back and fix anything. Theoretically, if you enamel varnish the entire model about halfway through the model, and say you really mess up on top of it with your acrylic paints, you're not going to ruin it, because you can just go over the entire thing, throw it in a little tub of acrylic thinner, and it shouldn't break down the enamel varnish, giving you the ability to pretty much start over from where you saved your progress. That's the theory, anyway. I know there's a lot of companies that make acrylic paint or miniature acrylic paint thinners that do break the enamel paints, so you just have to be wise and practice the amount of paint, amount of thinner, amount of varnish and what kind of varnish that you're using. Because again, a lot of these thinners have the same chemicals in them anyway. They have some sort of a alcohol base or some sort of a stripping agent. So take, for example, your Tamiya X105. or your hobby Mr. Hobby Thinner 110 or 111s. They're built to strip their formula of paint, but that stuff can eat through Vallejo varnishes and Army Painter varnishes and Citadel varnishes pretty easily, causing them to break down. So again, it is useful to know what your paints can do, what they can't do, what thinners and what paint strippers how they interact with the paint that you're using. And yeah, you don't have to test it on a model. You can do that on just a hex base or on a useless piece of plastic or pretty much anything that, again, make sure you test your stuff. Get to know your paints. Also, there's plenty of videos and tutorials on how to do all that stuff too. So whenever you're doing your own painting and chill session, throw on that music, watch that video, get your brushes ready, and just chill. Alright, progress so far. There it is. There it is. We're doing good. That's 8 models in almost 30 minutes. That's not too shabby. doing the lines just a little bit faster here. All right, next let's do the Cavaliers. Cavaliers. How do you guys pronounce it? Is it Cavaliers or is it Chevaliers? Take these turrets off. Yeah, there we go. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Wash this brush just a little bit. Get some water in there. Wipe some of this stuff off. Let's re-soap it just a little. There we go. All right. Let's keep on moving here. Red stripes. This is a really nice red too. I'm really happy with it. They have improved my expectations of their Army Painter paint. Yes, sir. Oh, I messed that up a little bit. The show must go on. Let's see if we can get a nice little second layer here. That is a very rich red paint. Alright, there you go. Not too shabby at all. I'm going to give my hand a little bit of a break here. us proceed. There's a little spot there, but it's going to be hidden underneath the turret anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Looks like we missed a white line on this one. All right. Let's go ahead and add that white line next to it. There should be one on the front underbelly and also one in the back that I missed. And then just be careful that when you're painting a white paint, after you just laid down something like a red, to just be really careful that you don't hit the red. A red wet paint with your white paint, because then you're going to have a little pink stripe. Might be a little bit too thinned. I'll leave that alone, let it dry. Let's look at these other ones. That one looks good. That one looks good. That one looks good, okay. Let's see if I can repair that mess up here. Yeah, it's a little too thin still. It's out of the bottle too. I didn't thin the paint at all. Could just be water that's in the ferrule. All right. That should be good for now. Right, now we gotta do these last ones here, which are the JES missile carriers, or no, that's not what they are. These, I forget the names of these things. They're little hover tanks. This one's going to be a little tricky because of all the raised edges and details, so we're going to try to be careful here. Remember, there's no rush when you're painting. You paint at your speed, at your pace. Okay, there's a little too much capillary action happening there. I underestimated how much water these things can retain. This is a really good brush, you just have to be mindful of how much water it retains. See what you saw what I did there. There was a little bit too much water and paint in that little spot. So I'm drying the brush by putting the tip on a piece of tissue paper. I let the water capillary its way into the paper. That leaves just enough pigment on the brush to still paint, but it also lets me suck up any loose watery paint off the model. So that's a lot better to cover up than if I had just left it there to ball up. I did say it was going to be tough on this part right here. And there should be just enough pigment to at least stain the undercoat. However, it's not wanting to cooperate with me here very well. I think that works. All right, let's try it again. Then after these red lines, we'll do the blue ones. So far, so good. Alright, so that's it. I had my mic muted, sorry about that. That's it for the red stripes. It took us about an hour to do. The blue stripes are going to go on the opposite side of the white stripe for that first Crucis Lancers red, white, and blue stripes. And we're going to use the Ultramarine Fanatics Ultramarines blue for that blue stripe. Just shaking it a little bit, cleaning off some of this red residue and red pigment off of the brush as best as I can. And then we'll get started with the blues, which should probably take me another hour. So, all right. And welcome to everybody who's watching. Thank you for joining me. Okay. We're going to put a little bit of distilled water in here. Okay, I should thin it down a bit. Get my mixing brush. Alrighty. Pull out my little paper towel. Alright, let's start with the hardest ones first. We'll do these hovercraft, since they have all these neat little edges and gribblies on them. So we're going to do our blue stripe along this line, this side of the white stripe. Alright, let's see how this looks. That might be a little too thin. I might have to put a little more paint on here. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, that's better. Okay. It's a little hard to see, but it's there. So we got a couple ways we can move forward here with that line. We can either hug the inside of the wing blade, we can paint the actual wing blade, or we can kind of go like on just the top of it, leave that green, paint the line sideways on the side of the wing blade on the inside. So I think what we'll do is we'll paint the wingtip, the little tail fin tip, go up this edge here, and then paint like a blue thick line that just kind of goes straight. But why, collector? Why? Because. Just because. I might do that with the white and the red line, actually. Yeah, why not? Looks like we have a little bit of a bent piece of metal that I think is supposed to be there. And I'm wondering if I can lift it up, maybe, or am I gonna have to cut it out? You know what? We'll approach that when we get there. There we go. I think that's serviceable. These other tanks are going to be pretty easy. So this right here is the difficult ones. But Davian, why, Davian, why? Behind every Capellan conspiracy plot, there's always a Davian. They're plotters and schemers. Yeah, that works. That works for me. I'm going to paint that side of that front left barrel here a little bit more blue. I think that fits with what we're doing. And then one more. Little blue guy. Little blue lines for this little hover dude. Come on now, you were working all day. It's like a little baby. All right. There's the difficult ones. Put those to the side for now, and then we'll start doing the myrmidons. I just don't want to knock these guys over. Oop, almost dropped it. That would have been bad. This one's just easy. Mainly because of the spot that I picked here. So as you can see, it's kind of in a lowered edge. So I'm just doing the side and the part that wasn't touched by the white stripe. And then the lip of where the tread armor is. Part of painting is making your job as easy as you can without sacrificing the look. I really like this ultramarine blue. I'd like to paint some blue tanks. Oh, we missed a red stripe. Okay, well, we'll get that done right now. Still got some of that red sitting here on another pot. And there we go. Fixed. Put that back. Grab me another myrmidon. Clean up that red paint. Put some of that blue paint back on there. And then we'll continue. I might get these blue ones done a lot quicker than the red ones, simply because they're on the outer edge, and I don't have to worry about going over the white line as bad. At least on the myrmidons. The Ontos one is a little more centered, so I'd have to be careful not to go too far over. Alright. Alright, myrmidons are good to go. Next one is going to be... Well, let's do the let's do these Ontoses. Why not? These will be my second hardest ones to do. Cool. Oh yeah. Big boy. All right. Red, white, and blue stripes, man. Yeah. All right, now these demons. Same thing. All right. Ooh, it's a little difficult when I got the camera that close. It wants to hit the brush, and the zoom in function doesn't really look as good. All right, that's good for those. And then the final four will be these Chevalier tanks. I may have overshot a little bit there. But it's okay. What you do is you straighten it out on your subsequent brush strokes to try to keep it as clean as possible. And trust that your hand is going to do what you want it to do. Yeah, there you go. We'll probably go back with some of that white and clean it up, or thicken up the white line just a little bit on that one, but nothing too terribly difficult. And I do apologize if I'm not rambling as much as I usually do. Lots of stuff has happened, but I really don't know what to say about it. Oh, the new there's another MechWarrior 5 Clans trailer for one of the new characters that came out. I saw that recently. Looks interesting. The Gundam Requiem for Vengeance clip came out not too long ago. That's pretty cool looking too. Oops. I messed that one up. Sometimes that'll happen. Will you come off? Nope. Okay. Oh, we're just going to keep going. You don't want to rub the undercoat off, especially on a metal model. There we go. And last one. I said this was going to take 2 hours to do the blue lines, but it took a lot less time. All right. So at this point, what we can do is we can wait for this to dry, and then varnish with the matte varnish before moving forward, or or I can pick out more details of stuff to do or some touch-ups. It really is honestly up to the painter if they want to save their game, save their progress by varnishing often or not. What I'll do is I'm going to varnish. So we're going to water some stuff down, get the varnish ready, and yeah, we'll continue from there. Oh, we got 2 comments now. Hey, John. Yeah, you made it. It's all good, man. I started earlier than I usually do. I usually start these at 7:30, but I decided to start it at 7, just so I could be done a little bit earlier. I hope your event that you went to went well, and that you're doing okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with what I had planned to do tonight. I wanted to do the red and blue stripes, and it went by a lot quicker than I thought it was gonna. I thought it was gonna take a little bit longer. So, and then the client didn't want to do any red and blue stripes on the turrets. So, as of now, I'm ahead of schedule here. I guess I can just keep streaming. Maybe show off some stuff. Let's see. One of my local Battletech group gamers, he printed me out 4 of these muckrakers, which are, if you guys ever played the MechWarrior Clicks game, you might remember these were the common construction mechs that nobody wanted because they were pieces of shit. But I love them. I like them. I like how they look. And yeah, you can't get enough of these, man. It's like the Tonka truck from hell, dude. It's like the Killdozer of the periphery. I'm thinking about writing, Killdozer on the side of this one, or maybe on this one. Here's your tax. Here's what I owe, or come get me IRS or something. I don't know. I could think of something stupid to put on there. I went with a kind of a teal turquoise look. Oh, let's see. I got comments. Sorry about that. I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. Misfit. Hey, Misfit. Yeah, buddy. What's up, man? Sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. The mech technical. Hey, a mech nickel. Gay. Let's see. The Katyusha rockets in the... Yes, that's right. F you, Comstar. Oh yeah, they do look good. Yo, Smokey Raven, what up? Yeah, they look good. I'm pretty happy with some of these STLs that one of our members goes by Kinklith printed for us. And then here's another one he did. It's from Cults. It's one of the older Mad Cat Mark II's advances or enhanced. Okay, now the camera wants to act up. It was doing great all day. Here, let's see if we can trick it. Trick the camera. Come on, trick the camera. Focus. Focus camera. Uh-oh. I think I made it mad. I made the camera mad. There you go. There's a nice little look at that thing. And then, oh yeah, let me show off one of the Crucis frogs, one of his new Mad Cat Mark IIs. This one right here is a... Oh, no, now it wants to focus and darken, bastard camera. Can never win with these damn cameras. Oh, there you go. Look at that damn thing. Look at that thing. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Let's see that. Compare that to the old one. You know, they're roughly the same height. It wasn't. I had to tell Crucis Frog about the scale, and he promptly responded and was like, "Yo, yeah, you're right." Really good guy. Definitely recommend. I'm not getting paid for this. I don't get paid to sponsor anything because I'm a small fry. But definitely check out Crucis Frog on Cults. Check out the MK2E, which is this bad boy. And there's like 3 poses, and there's also a diorama one where it's like flying and he's like shooting a mech. It's really cool. Yeah, you do got to get you some of them. You got to get you some of those, I'm telling you. It's worth it. All right. I'm gonna get my varnish ready because we're gonna varnish our bad boy tanks over here. Nope, don't want the gloss one. I want my matte one. There it is. Got the matte varnish. Misfit. You said you wanted to learn some stuff, huh? What kind of painting tips would you like to learn today? Any questions? Please feel free to put it down there, and I'll try to answer you. Or I could show you a demonstration or whatnot. Am I thinning the varnish? So what I do is, because the varnish is really gloopy, what I do is I put just a couple drops of distilled water, and you shouldn't do that to varnish because it weakens the varnish's strength a little bit. But I mean, once it dries and the lattice chain, the molecular lattice chain forms and it solidifies, then it's usually pretty durable. The Vallejo varnish is the one that I'm going to use. You're just observing. Yeah, years. Observe. Years. Observe. Years. Sweet. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I learned. I would just watch those, the usual YouTube painters. Like Vince Venturella or Ninjon or B1B Flyer from the Camo Specs. And I would just watch them paint and kind of watch how they do it. And that's pretty much how I learned. I don't have any formal training. My wife, she went to a school to learn painting and sketching. So she's much more adept at that stuff than I am, but she does more like still life and canvas painting, and I just paint little war machines, man. This is my little zen thing that I do. All right, I'm gonna get my distilled water. I think I'm gonna need more varnish than that, but I'm gonna get a little distilled water here. Can't see it because it's all like white on white. I mean, if I had a little person as a friend in my house and they wanted me to paint them, I could do my best. The little people. Isn't it what's the word? Isn't it like hate speech now? If you call them little people, you got to call them something else, or is that like the polite way to call them? You have to call them little people. Little midgets, man. Little midgets. You paint little midgets. You bigot. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The vertically disadvantaged. Now every Warhammer army and Battletech armies, they're just vertically disadvantaged figurines. Because we can't offend anybody, guys. That's the truth. That's the harsh reality that we live in. Oh, here goes Collector again with all his incitement of cyberbullying. I just can't help myself, guys. I'm that friendly neighborhood bigot, I guess. I don't know. Just gotta do one side. I don't see why you couldn't, unless you can't anymore. Is that a thing now? That you're not allowed to call... You're not allowed to use the word dwarf? In D&D? They can chug a big jug of diesel nuts. Get it? Oh, damn, really? Have you joined the Battletech for Conservatives group? There's a couple guys that joined, and you know. There's also another D&D group. It's like ancient something shit posters that don't get offended or something like that. It's a long name, but it's pretty basic. They got a bunch of type of people in there. There's like there's all your like lefty wokies in there too, but the admins don't like give a shit if they get offended, so it's pretty fun. Oh, you giving me kissy kiss? Oh, come here. Kissy kiss. Okay. My daughter came over here. She wanted Keithy Keith. So I gave her Keithy Keith. 5th edition. Would you believe it if I told you I've never played a game of Dungeons and Dragons? Would you believe it? I think we talked about it last stream. Didn't we? Or a couple streams ago. Yeah. I don't know. I heard that what was it at that convention that they fired a bunch of the, we'll call them the activist writers guild, because of, yeah, we did we talk every weekend. See, and it's a good thing. I like it. I like talking to you. Collector, why are you only painting one side? Well, it's because I'm too lazy to get the little stand holders, and I'm holding one side, and so I'm going to let that dry and then do the other side. I mean, it's clear paint, so it's not really going to matter which side I do first. Yeah, you hear my daughter? Did you hear her? Yeah. he's awesome. Oh, sweet. I bought Call of Cthulhu, and my son said he was really interested in it, so we got it. But ever since I bought it, he's been MIA and decided he just wants to be in his room all day. So eventually, I will learn how to play that game, and I will grab him and be like, "Hey, you bought this. We're gonna play it now." Even though I don't care about it, but if he cared about it enough to want it, and I bought it for him, then he's gonna freaking play it. It's like, hey, you chose this food. Don't just throw it away after taking one bite. You're gonna eat the whole damn thing now, Old school parenting. Oh, nice. Sweet. Yeah, man. That's interesting. Yeah, it's cool how some games evolve and they become something else. I know, like, it happens in video games a lot. So, like, the Earth Siege sci-fi mech games, they turned to Star Siege, and then Star Siege turned into Star Siege Tribes, which is not a mech game, it's a high-speed spacesuit jetpack skiing shooter multiplayer arena game. Same universe, but different, like, completely different game type and, I guess, timeline. Both D100s. Yeah. Yeah. I got that to run on my PCM on the emulator. So. But Tribes actually runs on Windows fucking 10 and 11 and shit. They got it patched where it works on any machine, which is crazy. Like, of all the old school games, like, that don't even run on even 64-bit systems, like, that one still runs. Tribes runs on anything, man. John asks, "Hey, LJ5, do you have the standalone Delta Green?" Well, do you, punk? He says, "Yes, John. I have the physical agent and handler's guide." Ew. Are you like a handler of hounds? Do you handle people? You're like a mercenary handler? Oh, really? It's at Eton right now? Jesus. I might have to check it out. Yeah, my kid really likes my son really likes a lot of the, whatchamacallit, like, the back rooms and the SCP stuff, all the new horror sci-fi stuff. Players are agents. And the GM is the hand. Oh, nice. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I kind of intuited what it is. It's like an Armored Core 6, man. Yeah, the player is the hounds or the AC pilots, and the guy that gives you orders is the handler. It's your handler. daughter's being funny over there. For the varnish, I'm using this old beat-up shit brush from Hobby Lobby that I got years ago. It's perfect for this type of application or doing basing materials. The baby girl! What's up? You good? Good. I haven't played the Cyberpunk 2020 tabletop. I saw the figures; they look really cool. A lot of the those like resin casted figures. They have all the like the characters from the game, the video game, and then the characters from Edge Runners. I saw those. Those look really cool. They look like they'd be really fun to paint. They would fit. I think they would fit really well in like a Battletech RPG too. Just I mean, minus all the super augmentations and shit, since people don't usually have cybernetics in Battletech as a common thing. I mean, but you can play however the fuck you want to play. You don't have to. If you want to have cybernetic augments, then have cybernetic augments. Hard plastic, yeah. I didn't know they made the hard plastic ones. That's cool. I'm just gonna be sloppy now. I'm not. I don't really need to hold the things. I can just varnish the tops and sides here. Let my Pro Acryl mat get a little sloppy. Just kind of throw it around. Just get my crap all over it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, they like it sloppy. You know what else is hard? John, you know what else is hard? Don't leave me hanging, John. Oh, there's a video delay. I gotta wait for the damn video to catch up. I'm not saying that. No, I wasn't gonna say that. The bristles on this brush, man, they're pretty hard, man. Come on, man. Well, that's why we made this stream not for kids. Because that's inappropriate. you just flat out said it. Like, fuck the stream. I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, stiff with that white Mecco everywhere. Yeah, glut, glut, glut. Not in front of my Battletech stream. That little meme with the dude that Sauce always posts. You serious? Right in front of my Battletech stream? Oh Oh yeah, you say weird things? You should watch the first stream I did. We were going all over the place, man. Fucking nasty ass sex jokes and talking shit about Catalyst and everything. We went ham. Yep. I was there when the ancient magics were written. And I was there, boy. I was there when the histories were written. Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna keep jumping that bitch, cause I ain't stopping. Go around. We're going for another jump. Oh man. Oh, people have a sense of humor. They don't last long on the internet because the internet is ran by a bunch of bitches. Oh no, they won't affirm my feelings. I'm so hurt. Ban them. I mean, it's mostly die now, isn't it? You get canceled and that's it. You don't get a chance to say anything because once you're labeled a bigote, you get permabanned from ever speaking because you went against the church, man. You went against the church of woke. When you do that, you committed heresy, and heresy is punishable by death and exile. So. But all right, everything here is varnished. I still got to varnish the light hovercraft. So once these are varnished, this is going to take a while to dry because I did then the varnish with some distilled water. So this is going to take about like twice as long to dry, maybe 3 times as long to dry. But I usually let these things dry overnight just to give them a proper chance to evaporate and harden up a little bit. So once I'm done doing this, I'll probably just move on to painting something else for the rest of the stream. For as long as you guys want to hang out. Purify with fire. Wasn't that like the old religious thing with witches? If they survive the fire, then they are truly innocent as God has saved them. But if the fire burns them, just because they are demons, or like the when they do the drowning test, which had a 100%, like they were all demons because they didn't float to the top. Like, here, we're gonna tie this heavy weight and log on your legs, and if the Holy Spirit saves you, then you would come to the top. But if you were infected by a demon, oh, you'll just sink to the bottom. And guess what happened? They all sank to the bottom. And then the priest would scream, "You see, God has spoken. These were demons." You know, and I say this as a Christian, you know, like that wasn't the way. You know, that's not the correct way. We know better. We do know better. That seems legit. Oh, misfit. Oh, you guys are gonna get me in trouble, huh? You guys are gonna make me talk about the no-no stuff. That's what she said. Oh, let's get some more. Oh yeah. Yeah, yes. Yeah. Get all that gooey white shit everywhere. Put some of this on these hover tanks. I even got the porn music playing. Come on, this is perfect. The perfect stream. It's the perfect Battletech Coom stream. Coomers unite. I don't think I thinned this little batch of the thinner or the varnish. So this is what it looks like if you don't thin the varnish down. It just kind of gloops on, which is fine. You could spread it around and work it. It won't take as long to dry, but we're still going to let it dry overnight. Okay, I think that was a little too much. Let me just get it on all the crevices. The crevices. And then I know it doesn't look good right now, but watch this. And it just goes off camera. And then I bring something that looks good. It's like, yeah, see, now it's done. No, it's just another fucking model. Alright, let me see. Put a little water in here. Thin it down just a little bit. It's not as thin, but it'll be thinner than before. I want to get it on that red, white, and blue because I want to protect the stripes, as those were the hardest thing to paint on this so far. And again, I'm using a Vallejo matte varnish, tiny bottle, the little mini bottle. You can buy them in the bigger bottles. You can buy them in what's the ounces? 15 milliliters. I think there's like a 50 milliliter bottle of this stuff. It's pretty good stuff. I use it for most of my minis, and it protects pretty well. You can also get varnishes from different companies that are of better quality. Oil-based? No. I use water-based acrylics. I don't use oil-based. Every once in a while, I'll use some oil-based stuff like oil washes or oil paints, but I don't use an oil varnish. I don't use oil paints as my as my primary paint. And it's mainly because of the high or the long working time. Like, those things take a long time to dry. I'm not very good with oil paints. If I was better, maybe I'd use them, but I'm not. So, well, that's all the units that I needed to varnish. So, oh, it looks like everybody left. It looks like, well, I'll give you all like a couple minutes to come back if you plan on coming back. If not, I might just call it. Okay, so you're still here. That's fine. Okay, let me read this. When I did scale models as a kid, it was all about those testers oil-based. Seems like those are out of favor now. Yeah, that's weird. It says only one person's watching, but I know that you guys are still here. So maybe it's just my stream acting all weird. Maybe I'm being shadow banned. Yeah, I remember, I still have some of my tester stuff. I have, I do use, okay, so let me tell you about what I do with those enamels. I use the tester's enamels as primer because it adheres to metal a lot better than some of the cheaper brand acrylic, water-based acrylic primers. So when I use the enamel primers, they're more durable, they're cheap. The only problem is they come in those tiny thimble-sized paint jars, those little mini jars. So you don't get that much of it. Another brand you can use is, here, I'll show you here. These are Gundam Aqueous and Hobby Lobby. So they're like a they're not an acrylic. They're like a alcohol-based enamel type paint, but they thin with water because of the chemicals they put in it. And when it hardens on metals, it acts like a really strong primer, like a really, really good primer. Maybe I'm shadow banned. we're all shadow banned, brother. We're all heretics to the Neo Church of Liberals. Heresy for all. You like my weird, funny voice? Ah, silly girl. No, demon girl, no, get away. No, demon girl. No. No, leave me alone, demon girl. Let go. Yeah, I use Rust-Oleum spray primers too. That works also. I have a hard time sometimes with them where I'll spray and it'll look like it got on where I wanted it. And then I'll let it dry, go inside, take them inside, and then realize, oh shit, I fucked up, I missed a spot. My daughter doesn't have cooties. I'm the one with the cooties. I'm the one that gave them to her. That's where cooties really come from. They come from their dad. Checkmate, Chud. Checkmate, Coomer. No. Cooties. Ew, cooties. Ooh. Cooties. Then you go through, then you become a teenager and you're just like, give me them cooties. Little girl, you need to go to bed. Go get ready for sleep. Have a good night. I think I need to go to sleep soon too. Let's see. We'll go to about 2:30, and then I'll call it. Ew! Don't call me that. Get out of here. Fucking weirdo. Oh, I love Ryan. I love my kids. They're the best. Let's see. What did I have? Oh, I got a new order from Ironwind Metals. I got a bunch of Word of Blake stuff. So they're all gonna go into like a Word of Blake list. So it won't just be, the Celestials and stuff and just tanks. Now I have some regular dudes that'll be Word of Blake jihadists. So got a few more of them in the box that I got to put together, and then hopefully I'll get a chance to paint them. I already did an old school Annihilator. Praise be unto Blake. Praise Blake. There's a wyvern that I'll use for some of the Word of Blake stuff. It's a nice little model. Already sprayed it with the white. Did a zenithal on it. And then what else did I get? I got a Shogun that's in metal, which is gonna be another. This one's gonna be more of a Toyama faction Word of Blakeist, or might just do it in Kurita Loyalist or something. Got this. There's also the. I forgot the name of this one. What's it called? Chimera, the Chimera one. Yeah. It's a Chimera. These are all Ironwind metal models too. They're the not CGL stuff. Comstar or Word of Blake Stalker. Get out of here, Stalker. Big ol' weenus. Got one of the Word of Blake lambs. So that one's going to be done up whenever I get to it. Got a bunch of stuff just sitting around that haven't gotten any paint on them. But we will. In time. In all good time. One of the Hunchback type. Or this might be the Quasimodo. What did you think? What did you think about CGL, huh? You thought CGL... what? Oh, abolished lambs? Lambs exist. That's really all there is to it. Lambs exist, and we use them. If there's a TRO or even an Alpha Strike card for it, it is usable. We don't. Well, at least in my group, we don't. We don't go by CGL's whatever. Oh, well, I mean, it's in the Alpha Strike Commander's Edition lambs are in there. And then so it's also in the Total Warfare book. So I don't know what you're being told, but we don't care what CGL does. At least in my group. I could give two shits what CGL does. I've used lambs in a, we did a boss battle with one of the Rattler 2s, and I had a lamb just go crazy and kind of equalize the board a little bit. It is kind of a dick move to use lambs in air mech mode, but it's also fun. So, well, I mean, I know a lot of groups don't like lambs because of the bullshit rules that they have. So it's not a CGL thing, really. It's more of a Battletech player thing. Like a lot of the older guys that yeah, like from the classic lambs all the way to the Word of Blake lambs, the rules for them have always been really clunky and sort of bullshitty. So a lot of people don't use them or don't want to use them because of how OP the air mech mode is. Yeah, but also lambs work a little bit differently in Alpha Strike than they do in Classic. So they're not as OP in Alpha Strike. In Alpha Strike, they have typically less pips on their armor and structure than a regular mech of their weight class, and the PV value is really high for them, and they don't do a lot of damage. Like they have very low damage values at their short, medium, and long ranges, if they even have a long range engagement number. And so using them in air mech mode and doing the air mech mode thing, the cheese thing in Alpha Strike, yeah, you have something that moves really fast and has like a TMM4 or TMM5 or whatever for being an airborne thing, but it still can't hit that hard. No matter what you do, it can't hit that hard. So even though you might not be able to hit it, but there's other things you can do to mitigate that, like skill up your skill for your mechs. So if you have a skill 4 mech, we'll just make it a skill 3 or a 2, pay the extra PV, and now you're hitting at a 2 plus whatever. And then there's also SPAs and formation special abilities. So there's formation special abilities that allow you to shoot better. There's special abilities like marksman or sniper or whatnot that allow you to shoot even better. So you're at a skill 2 already, and if you have the sniper specialist special ability where your long range is like short range, and then your medium range is like your long range, and your short range is like your medium range. So it just you swap the values of what your to hit is on the ranges. Just make it where your long or your medium range is a 0, and now even if the lamb is a TMM5, you're only hitting at a 2 plus 5, so 7s to hit a lamb. And those things, and then when they take damage when they're in air mech mode, they have to do a roll to see if they crash. So a lot of people say, oh well, a lot of people that hate lambs, they go, well, it's too OP. But there's ways to make regular mechs more OP and tougher. Yeah, it's a 7 to hit, and then you kill it in like one volley. If you're playing vanilla Alpha Strike and you shoot it with something that's a sniper with like 7 damage or even 6 damage, that thing's already going to be like half dead by the next shot. And it can only really, I think the most damage I've ever seen any of the lambs do is like 3 or 4. Yeah, correct. What I like using them for is for lore and thematic purposes. So, the Word of Blake had lambs. They had their like celestial looking lambs. And I wanted my mercenary players to fight against the Word of Blake, and so they fought something weird, which is big ass rattler and a fucking lamb that was escorting it, and a bunch of other Word of Blake mechs. Yeah. And I mean, it did do work. Like the lamb, I gave it a bunch of special abilities because I kind of made it like a mini boss. But it still died. Like it still couldn't handle getting shot by multiple units with like modifiers and special abilities. So yeah, both Battletech and Alpha Strike, they have enough rules, optional rules there, that you can make even the most broken OP shit at least somewhat balanced if your opponent or the person that you're running a game with understands the special abilities and like the strengths and weaknesses of certain abilities versus others. And you can build PV wise, you can build lists that are comparable in PV but might be made up of completely different things. So you might have one force that's all mostly tanks and infantry and artillery and like C3 networks, and then you have another guy who's like just all mechs, like all clan mechs with like high damage at all ranges except for long, but like and special abilities that help with that. But then you have another guy that's all inner sphere stuff with C3 network and special abilities and high armor and structure values on their mechs, and that all three of those armies might have very similar PV totals. So you can, that could be part of the fun, is just you're using what you like. Like this guy likes using clan mechs, this guy likes using inner sphere stuff, this guy likes doing combined arms. Yeah, it also depends on the mission, correct? Yeah, we have different mission types for our Battle Core campaign, which is our PvE, and then for the Heat and Steel campaign, which is our PvP campaign. We're running 2 concurrent campaigns right now, and both Alpha Strike, and both campaigns have different mission types. So there's like objective holding ones and terrain holding ones, like capture and hold point A and point B, or like maybe there's like 4 points and you get a certain amount of points per capture per turn, and then you're trying to reach like whoever reaches like 15 points or 20 points at the end of the game wins or something like that. So depending on what mission you're doing, if it's not just a straight up battle, between 2 forces, if it's like capture and hold, you might benefit from a bunch of like hover tanks and armor and battle armor that can ride on top of Omni-Mechs and stuff. Because you can have like a bunch of battle armor riding on an Omni-Mech, they jump out, they capture a point, now you have a mech and a bunch of infantry that are able to hold an objective, because you've got like essentially 4 or 5 units, all infantry and like 1 mech, versus an enemy that's maybe just 1 big mech. They can't hold that objective unless they have more units. So yeah, that's the fun of Battletech, man. That's the fun of the game. So now, of course, if somebody brought like all Savannah Masters or all Lambs or all something cheesy and shitty, then I'll be like, no, you can't do that. We have a member in our group that kind of does that, but he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it like to try to be a douche. He does it because he actually likes playing with the really obscure, strange stuff. So like proto-mechs and like units with weird special abilities or weird gear, or like really high TMM or like high speed, or like the superior jump jets, or units with like a bunch of LRM special ammo and SRM special ammo or something like that. So I mean, and we play. We let them. It's like, hey, you want to run this type of game, this special game? I go, yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah, and there's never any hard feelings. At least I hope there's no hard feelings. Yeah, it's been an interesting week, man. I had finally got to be back into the Battletech Texas group. So I got to promote Etten Games and our store there, and that's cool. So got some support from those admins. They're really, really nice people. Seems like things are looking up for Battletech, man. I'm telling you. Our groups are growing, and yeah. Oh, you didn't hear about it? Yeah. What is the question? No. So what happened was there was one admin that kept banning me for no reason, no justification. And I didn't know that this person wasn't the owner. I thought this person was the owner. The person who kept banning me, I thought he was the owner of the group. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, I mean, if he's in charge of that, then I'm not going to even bother. But I posted about it on one of our Battletech groups, and then the original owner of the group and another admin reached out to me and said, hey, that guy doesn't own it. We own it. Like, we're the ones that started this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. Like, how the hell am I supposed to know that if I'm blocked? You know. But anyway, this is my point, my position on this. Like, this is all I ever said was this, and this in a completely different Discord Facebook group that has nothing to do with Battletech Texas. I've never even posted on Battletech Texas. I'd never even been a member of Battletech Texas. I didn't even know that page existed because I had been, like you said, blacklisted, banned from it before I even had a chance. So, you know, and then one of the admins reached out to me and he was just like, man, if we had known, we would have like figured this out sooner. I'm like, well, I mean, I didn't feel like it was necessary to cause any more drama. I was just like, well, if they don't want me, I don't want to be. Like, if you don't want me in your space, then I'm not going to beg to come back or to go in there. But now that they reached out to me and were like, hey, like, we like what you see. And, you know, it looks like you haven't really done anything wrong. And sure, you know, like, we'll reinstate you. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went in there. Then I got banned again. And one of the admins was just like, that's weird. I just unbanned you. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the person I've been talking about that has no reason to ban people. He just decides he doesn't like somebody and boom, bans them. And they're like, well, we'll talk to the other admins and we'll have a meet. I'm like, all right. I'm like, do what you gotta do. Like, I've got my groups. And then they reached out again and they're like, yeah, we figured it out. This, and this. Just try to join again. I'm like, all right. Tried to join again. Banned again. I was like, okay, are you guys like pulling my chain? Are you just messing with me? And they're like, no, like, we figured it out. And now I'm in. And apparently the problem person, they left on their own. They didn't get, from what I heard, they didn't get banned. They didn't get kicked out. They didn't get like bullied or anything. They just left on their own. So they threw a tantrum and then they left on their own. And that was it. So just by me existing apparently bothers them. So, but whatever. My goal is to just play Battletech at my store and reach other people that live in the area so they can come play Battletech. That's it. And the people that play at my store, they could vouch for me. I'm fair. And I treat everybody with the same respect that I expect to be treated. And if you don't respect that, then you will talk to the store managers and you will have to deal with that. But, I mean, we're pretty fair. And I've always policed, for instance, politics and stuff. I've always policed that in our group for both sides. We don't, when you're at the store, your focus is Battletech. If somebody wants to talk politics, I mean, that's fine. But like, as long as you're not being confrontational or disruptive or attacking anybody, like as long as you're talking about stuff as like an adult. I mean, because there's even store people that will come over and they'll bring something up and talk. Hey, you know, have you heard about this? And oh man, and like we'll talk and it'll be done. Like conversation starts, it ends, and then we go back to playing Battletech. So I mean, that's what you're supposed to do as a grown-up. You're supposed to be able to have conversations and have an opinion, and then if somebody doesn't agree with you, you go, okay, well that sucks that we don't agree, but agree to disagree. Yeah. I mean, neither have I. I mean, every time I've played at the store at Eton, I've never had any issues with anybody. No one's ever had a problem with me, or I've never really had a problem with anybody. Even people that I thought would have been a problem. They were very cool, they were very cordial and respectful, and so was I, and nothing ever happened. I mean, and even the store has a policy, like, you don't bring that crap to the table anyway. So, you know, that's the beauty of in-person interaction, is people are on the internet, they don't act like they do when they're in real life. And in real life, people are a lot nicer. So, and that goes both ways, you know? Like, I'm obviously a lot nicer. I'm not gonna act like I'm some, you know, oh, I'm a big tough guy, you know. There's always a bigger fish out there, dudes. Yeah, people do act like a fool. But in my case, I've never, in any CGL Discord or Facebook group, any Battletech, like, Facebook or Discord group ever, like, I don't know, did what was done to me. Let's just put it like that. Yeah, I mean, well, I'll tell you a story. So, before I started the Battletech group, this was back in like 2020. This was before I became a demo team member. This was before the drama, all that stuff. I had just been going to the store to play Battletech, and so I would go on my, like, whenever I had an off day, and sit there for a couple hours. And there was one guy, I don't remember his name, but he was kind of a skinny, not that skinny, he's kind of like a regular sized build dude. And he came up to me and he was just like, man, I don't understand why Battletech is so hard. It's so inconvenient. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. You know, like, would you like me to demo a game for you? Like, would you like to play? No, I don't really feel like playing, because, and this went on for like 30 minutes of this guy telling me how stupid Battletech is compared to other games. And so then I'm like, well, why don't we play Alpha Strike? Alpha Strike is, no, because Alpha Strike's too simplistic and it's not fun. So after I realized that this guy seemed to be just trolling me, I was like, all right, so since we're not getting anywhere, I'm not going to change the rules right now for you to play a game of Battletech the way you want, when I feel like you're not even being genuine anymore. So, you know, you can move along now. I'll just sit here and chill. You know? And then he said, well, that's not a way to get people to play your game. And I was like, but you don't want to play. You're just here to be an asshole. And, you know, like, when you say something like that to somebody's face, everything gets quiet. And I'm just kind of staring at him like, so move along now. Like, our conversation is done. So he goes, why are you, oh, you sound like one of those gatekeepers. I'm like, well, I'm not gatekeeping anything. I'm like, you came over here. Like, that was the only time I ever experienced any kind of a weird anger from somebody. But other than that, it's been really good. This was before all the weird shit with Catalyst and everything else. So, yeah, no, I had said, what did I say? I said, I like that the rules are complicated because it's a form of filter, you know, like, it filters out people that don't care about the game as much, who just want to, like, invade the hobby. I said that to kind of bait him, because I knew where he was going with things. He's like, oh, that's really, that gatekeeping is bad. You shouldn't be that way. Like, don't you want more people to play your game? And I was like, I don't want people like that to play my game. Not with that attitude. Fine. Fine. Play by yourself then. It's like, okay. And now we've got, like, what, 30 people that have joined the group. So, well, no, this guy was in person. So, I mean, he came up. I thought he was genuine. I thought he wanted to play. I've seen him at the store since then. I've waved hi, like, hey, how's it going, dude? And I get the look of like, why are people playing with him? Ugh, what an asshole. Like, hey, I mean, to some extent, gatekeeping works because you keep people like that out so they're not ruining everything for everybody, and then you play with people who actually want to be there and play. If you come to me, I'll talk to you. If you want to talk about Battletech, we'll talk Battletech. If you're just going to sit there and tell me how stupid the game system is, or how stupid I am for using it, the system I'm using, or whatever, if you're just there to troll, then I'll hear you out up until I'm not gonna hear any more of it. And then when I don't want to hear any more of it, then I'll be like, all right, entertainment done. It's really simple. Yeah, I mean, everybody does it, right? The whole thing of like, oh, gatekeeping bad. It's like, well, I mean, all you wokies and lefties do it, so. It's not so bad if you're doing it. Oh, cry harder, Chud. Looks like I am live at the Etten store. Cool. Yeah, so, yeah, that happened at the store. The guy, like I said, I don't remember his name. And I feel like he was being a jerk. But there was no yelling, there was no cursing. It was just kind of a, hey, like, I'm here, I'm willing to teach you how to play the game. If you want to play the game, let's play the game. If you're just here to be an asshole, then I'm not really here to deal with that. And, when other people show up and they want to play, we've adopted different systems. We've adopted combined arms ideas. We adopted, what else did we adopt? We adopted like the PvP idea. We're working on a Solaris 7 style PvP arena campaign that I'm hoping takes off. Yeah. Do as we say, not as we do. Yeah, But let's see, looking into the future here. Yeah, PvP. So we have a PvP campaign called Heat and Steel, and that's headed by one of our group members, Aiden. He is the one in charge of the PvP campaign on there. It's pretty cool. He's got he wrote his own doctrines. There's special army abilities that he wrote that are based on some of the stuff from the Alpha Strike book. Isn't BT a PvP game? Well, I run a PvE campaign. So how that works is IGM. So our PvE campaign is called Battle Core. What we do is you set up, you build your list 100 PV. You have to make it mercenary, intersphere, general. So you'll go on master unit list and put those on the filters, and then you'll go to 0 to 55 ton, and then era availability for availability. So unit availability, not unit production, but unit availability, you'll put Jihad era. And then from there, you pick kind of your units that are up to 100 PV. You'll do missions, IGM missions, Aiden, Pool Junkie, Snicket, and a couple of other of our guys. They GM those games, and so you do the games. The GM is the NPC character, your Op4, and then you choose a mission. You earn PV and EXP, but now we call it reputation points. So you earn RP and PV, and then with that, you can level up your mercenary company reputation score. You can also level up your pilots. So you can have either have your thank you, Derek. Yeah, so there's an RPG element to it, because you're leveling up your characters, so your mechs, your tanks, your infantry units, and then you're gaining PV, which is your money, and you pay for repairs. So we have a repair system that's not in the vanilla game. So in our Alpha Strike Battle Core system, you repair any armor and structure at 1 PV per. Any critical hits are 2 PV. If you lose the unit, you have to roll to see if the pilot dies or not. If the pilot dies, then you lose them. You lose the mech and the pilot. If the pilot survives, you're allowed to buy the unit back at skill 8 cost, because everything has to be at skill 4 when you buy it. And so at a skill 8, it's at a premium discount. It's because your pilot survived. So how we're abstracting the from classic, where in classic, you have a piloting skill, you have the gunnery skill, you have a pilot and a mech. In Alpha Strike, the pilot and the mech are kind of one and the same thing. But how we abstract it is, the skill 8 is roughly like half the points of what the unit would be. It's not 1-for-1, 50-50 like that. There's like a little calculation that's done. But how I see it is, if a skill 8 mech is like almost a pilotless mech, it's literally like a mech without anything in it, then that's the cost of the mech that you have to buy. Let's see what you got over here. The GM has no stake in the Op4 when they place the NPC side of a PvE. Yeah, exactly. So like Misfit said, John, for the PvE, the GM, like, we're not playing anything that's gonna be persistent in the world. It's just the players. We're helping the players play the game and level up and do kind of what you do in a game that's PvE. Yeah, and then we have like 30 freaking people, man. Like, I've got this spreadsheet on the Google Docs where it's just everybody's mercenary groups and all their mechs and what the skill level is, and how much PV they have in the bank, how much PV they have in use, what their reputation point level is. Yeah. So you use RP, so you use reputation points to level up your mercenary unit's reputation score, which allows you to buy better units, or you can level up a pilot or a tank crew or an infantry unit to be more potent. And then once you've reached enough PV, like once you have enough PV in hand, and say you have like some units that you really like that work together really well, you can form something that's called an Elite Lance. And the Elite Lance is just it's an additional set of rules for your level 3, level 4 games. So there's level 1 and level 2s are your base games that people that are starting out can play. Level 3s and 4s are locked only to Elite Lance players. So the Elite Lance players... Oh yeah, no, that's fine, John. Yeah, that's fine. No, so the Elite Lances open up another tier of possibilities, because in level 1s and 2s you are not allowed to use SPAs or formation special abilities. So in Alpha Strike you have something called a formation special ability that a unit like a lance can, if they're in a formation, that you can pick what kind of formation they could be. So like a scout lance or a battle lance or a support lance, and they have special abilities that are inherent to those formations that give those mechs or units those special abilities, like, you know, marksman or float like a butterfly or whatever, just like re-rolling dice or whatnot. And none of that is available to level 1 and 2s. It's not available only until you create an Elite Lance. So when you create an Elite Lance, I've set up a upgrade rule table. So you upgrade your you have to give one of your units, make them the squad leader, give them an SPA. So you buy the SPA for 20 points, 20 PV, and then you form a lance of 3 more units. So it's got to be 4 units, and you pay another 10 PV, so it's 30 PV to form this unit. It doesn't matter if the squad leader is a skill 4 or a skill 3 or a skill 2. They have to buy an SPA. So you pay the SPA cost. Those SPAs are like 1 or 2 or 3 PV for the SPA, and you give that to your squad leader, and then you form your Elite Lance, and then you give them a formation ability. So not only do you have a squad leader with an advanced SPA that you have to give them, but you also have the formation, which gives other units abilities. So with that Elite Lance, whatever it is, whether it's all tanks or all VTOL or all mechs, you can do level 3s and level 4 missions with that, but you're going to be fighting NPCs that also use special abilities, formation special abilities, and stuff like that. So it's something to work towards. It's something like, to me, it's like, you know, that's what role-playing games are like, you know, like what they're about. You have your novice missions and errands and stuff, and then you have your end game content stuff, your end game missions that further the lore, whatever, that are more lore or more lore wise, or bigger bad guys, like bigger enemies, you know, like we had our Rattler Mark II fight, or we had our Orca super heavy fight, or we had our like elite Word of Blake crazy lance fight. So it's all cool stuff. And then for Heat and Steel, the players split up into teams, so you have players on one side, players on the other side, and they play it on a map. And Aiden has a world map on Tabletop Simulator, and they make their moves there, so that you're trying to territory control. And then again, he's got his own special rules that are specific to his game. They use the Alpha Strike rules, but then there's added rules that he added that make that game feel more like a persistent world PvP strategy tactics war game. And like there's like points you could capture, and they give you special abilities or like more PV that you guys can use, that your armies can use to upgrade or buy new stuff or whatnot. and then you battle it out against the other. Now that one is PvP. That one is your team against the other team, and both teams are players. It's not there's no like GM or whatnot. Like he's a GM for it, but he's also a player participating in it. So and he has to rely on his teammates to kind of help. But I think right now the only thing that's kind of making things a little frustrating for him is that whenever they've rolled for teammates, we've got like different types of players. Like we have players who are more casual gamers, and they don't like to really be that serious when they play. Like they don't really care that much, and that's cool. Like there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like some people just don't really care too much about extreme military doctrine and military simulation. But when you put all the casual players on one team and then you put all the serious players on the other team, it might get a little lopsided where you've got like 3 guys on one side, one of them is serious, the other 2 don't care, and then you got the other team and all 3 of them are just like masters at the game, like they're all like min-maxing everything. It's like, well, it's not really hard to see which side's probably going to win because of the skill balance issue there. So one of the suggestions that I had was, well, just make it where, you recognize beforehand, like who kind of wants to play how, and then just go off of that. That way it's a little more balanced. Then again, nothing is more balanced than rolling a couple dice and rolling for who's in what team. So anyway, I've rambled. I've rambled a long time. So we're coming up on the 3rd hour mark. I did not realize we were going to go that late. I appreciate everybody who showed up. Thank you to Misfit and John, and to Derek from Etten, who was streaming the stream at the store. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was kind of done with painting already, so we were just kind of chilling and hanging out. That's what this is all about. This is the paint and chill stream. But yeah, I'm gonna call it. You guys, thank you for showing up again. Sleep well. You have a good night. For the guys that are watching that are gonna be there tomorrow at the game store, I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Yeah, that's it. Let me. I'll set up another stream for next Saturday, and hopefully I'll see you here then to hang out while we paint and chill. So, have a good night. Take care. Peace out.